Getting taller after puberty is one of those things that is hard to do, but not exactly impossible. The truth is that most people are not prepared to do the hard work it takes to grow taller after puberty, and therefore they say it's not possible or they quit before they got there. But you, my friend, if you're prepared to do the hard work it takes to grow taller after puberty, I can not exactly guarantee you, but I can tell you it's possible. It's definitely possible that you can grow taller after puberty. This video is going to be as detailed as possible, and the information I'm about to share, it cannot just be Googled. You can't just Google this information. It comes from real life proof of people who actually did as I'm going to say, and they succeeded. Make sure you pay attention and watch till the end. So I'm gonna try to explain this as good as I can. There are two areas you need to improve if you want to get taller after 19. The first area are the torso, and the second area are the legs. How can you grow taller in the torso? Well, there are three main ways you need to know if you want to grow taller in the torso. The first way is stretching exercise. The second way is thickening the spinal discs. What are spinal discs? Spinal discs are rubbery pads between bones that make your spinal column. And the third way are abdominal exercises. Let's start with number one, stretching exercise. Why is doing stretching exercises gonna make you taller after puberty? Well, it's because moving your back helps your body deliver nutrients to the spine. These nutrients keep the discs, muscles, ligaments, and joints healthier. And also, people think that the different positions you go in when stretching can slow down disc degeneration by increasing the amount of nutrients that go into the discs, thereby increasing the spinal column length. So what that basically means is that stretching can help deliver important nutrients to the spine, which stops disc degeneration and can prevent you from shrinking as you grow old. The point is, just start stretching. It will help you out. 2. Thickening the spinal disc. The spine has 23 vertebrae. Vertebrae are special bones that make up your spine. These vertebrae are separated by intervertebral discs or spinal discs. Spinal discs are spongy and they help nerves run between each bone segment, and they are made of cartilage. The discs account for 1/3 and 1/4 of the total length of the spine. There are approximately 23 discs in the spine, 6 cervical, 12 thoracic, and 5 lumbar. The discs in the lumbar region of the spine are approximately 7 to 10 millimeters thick. Inside the disc is a gel-like center called the nucleus pulposus, but let's just call it the nucleus. Disc degeneration happens when the nucleus is dehydrated and therefore reduces the ability of the disc to absorb shock. This shrinking of the disc size is actually the reason why people get shorter as they become old. A disc from the cartilage has the size of 9 millimeters, depending of course on which size of the back comes from. There are 22 discs in the back with reasonable thickness. Adding just few millimeters of thickness to each disc will add typically around 3 to 5 inches of height. So after all of these explanations, here's how to increase the thickness of your spinal discs. Number 1, sitting in a back slouched position. Sitting upright or leaning forward causes increased pressure on spinal discs and therefore reduces spinal height. Two scientists in 1983 suggested that the fluid is squeezed out of the spinal disc as a person sits in a bent position. When you sit with your back extended, what happens is actually the opposite, and therefore this increases your spinal height. The pressure on the spinal disc reduces because it goes to the rest of the chair. 2. Keeping the body hydrated. Remember when I said that the discs are made of a gel-like substance called the nucleus pulposus, but which I would just call the nucleus? Well, that part is made of 80 to 85% of water. So you can kind of see where this is going. If you don't drink water constantly, the nucleus will begin to shrink, and then the disc will shrink, and then overall the whole spine will shrink, which will lead you to a shorter height. Most health experts recommend to drink 1 to 2 liters of water each day, not at once, but throughout the day. 3. Laying on an inflatable cushion or the spine arching device. There was an experiment done to find out the effect of supine hyperextended posture on disc dehydration. 10 subjects between the ages of 23 to 30 years old lay down in a supine position. Then, an inflatable lumbar support or cushion was put under the lumbar spine for 10 minutes to hyperextend the spine. After 10 minutes in this position, the subjects gained height ranged from 2.766 millimeters to 7.66 millimeters. This experiment showed that laying on a cushion can actually increase your height, so you can maybe try it tonight. That's all the ways to increase the spinal disc size. Last way to increase height in the torso is abdominal workouts. Abdominal workouts increase height in the torso in 3 ways. Number 1 is because weak abdominal muscles will lead to changes in body alignment and slouching. Slouching will definitely make you appear a couple of inches taller. a couple of inches shorter. Shorter. 2. Weak abdominal muscles can actually lead to the compression of lumbar joints. These joints are found around the bottom part of your spine, which can reduce your spinal disc height and your overall height. Finally, strong abdominal muscles will effectively carry the weight of your bones and your body, and therefore taking some of the unnecessary pressure off of your spine. Now for the next part is how to increase height in your legs. There are 3 main ways you can increase height in your legs. The first way is cycling with a raised seat. The second way is doing lots of jumps every single day. And the third way is using ankle weights. Let's start with the first way, cycling with a raised seat. For this way to work, you have to first increase the amount of growth hormone in your body. If you have, a little growth hormone in your body or it's not that high, this method won't probably work. So watch out for a video on how to increase growth hormone in the future. So how do you do it? Well, it's pretty simple. You just get a bike and raise the seat. You can start off by raising it to 1/4 of an inch, because if you raise it too fast, it will hurt around the crotch area and it won't be easy to pedal. So don't raise it too fast. So you're gonna first raise it to the 1/4 inch, and then you're gonna focus on pedaling. You're not gonna focus on going too fast. You're gonna focus on doing the right form of biking, and then after 2 to 4 months your bone will have remodeled and you will have grown 1/4 of an inch. And then after those 2 to 4 months, you can change the height of the seat to 1/2 an inch, and then go all over the process all over again. When starting out, aim for 10 minutes each day and make sure you have a great form. It will get your legs used to it and it will also make you fit. So what bike should you get? You can get really any bike. You can get an indoor bike, you can get a normal bike. Just make sure that you can raise the seat so you can try this, because if you can raise the seat, then that bike is probably not the right bike. So make sure you can raise the seat. It doesn't matter what bike it is. If it's an indoor bike, you can buy it on Amazon or buy it at your local Walmart. I don't know if they sell them. If it's a normal bike, you can really get them anywhere. So buy a bike. Some of the challenges you're gonna face is that it will be a little bit uncomfortable when starting out, but don't worry, you're gonna eventually get used to it, because this is when most of the people give up. They do it for a week, and then after a week they start feeling the pain and then they give up. But make sure you don't give up, because you're gonna regret it. You're gonna regret it because after just a week or 2, you get used to it and the pain will go away. The pain is gonna happen, but don't quit. Second way is ankle weights. This way works as the leg lengthening surgery, except it's not as expensive. What you basically do is create microfractures in the bone and then stretch the bone as long as possible. First of all, how do you create microfractures? To create microfractures, you have to walk, jog, and jump on hard surfaces for a long period of time, for at least every day for a week. So how do you know that you have created microfractures? To know if you have created microfractures is because you start feeling a slight, not a sharp, pain in the shin area when you exercise. The pain usually goes away after you take a break from exercising. You should still be wearing weights even if you feel this pain. Another way is that when you jump, you feel a sharp pain in the shin area. If you get these 2 signs, chances are you have created microfractures. It takes 6 to 8 weeks for microfractures to completely heal. In this period of time, when you have these microfractures, you're supposed to apply ankle weights so that you can stretch your shin bones as long as possible, which can actually increase your height. Last way to increase leg height is by jumping. A good number of people said that they have increased the height just by jumping, so it might actually work. There were also a study where they took 4 rats and trained them 100 times a day for 5 days a week. They were trying to find out the effects of jump training on bone growth. The weight of bones of the femur and tibia were much higher in jump-trained rats. Jump training also increased the length of the femur and the tibia, as well as the size of the femur in both young and old rats. The study showed that jump training is way more effective than run training for bone hypertrophy, or in dumb terms, bone growth, and that the effects were not limited by age. So if you want to start jumping, you can go ahead, because you never know, it might actually work. They did a study on these rats and it worked, so why can it not work on you? I'm not saying you're a rat, but it might work, so try it out. In the next video, I'll share a workout routine on how to increase height after puberty, so make sure you subscribe and make sure you don't miss it. All of the information in this video was got from a book by Dennis Rainey called Growth After Puberty. You can check it out by clicking the link in the description. I love you guys. Peace.